Okay, Raw opened with the Usos cutting a promo, and they were basically doing their rap that it's like they hadn't really missed a beat. And they were actually dressed all in black, kind of like the gangster looking Usos again a little bit, right?
Right.
So Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed come out, and they just start jawing to each other. He's talking about they're just taking orders from Heyman, and basically, they're just trash talking each other from the ring to the aisleway. LA Knight comes out and attacks Breaker and Reed, and they get in the they get to this, they're fighting. They get Reed in there. Reed shoved LA Knight towards Jay in the corner. Knight stopped short, like he wasn't hitting him because Jay and LA Knight have had issues. Reed went for a corner splash, and Knight got out of the way but caused Jay to take the splash. And Jimmy super kicked Reed out of the ring. All right. This is the basics. I mean, the crowd ate it up, but I thought the Usos had good chemistry together again when they were together. Would you like this?
I would agree with that. Yeah.
So basically, they made a match for WrestlePalooza tag team match.
Yeah, they're brothers, so the chemistry's already there. Breaker and the other guys suffer when Paulie's not there. Paulie's a good presence to have, and he's a great talker, which these guys aren't. But, people popped when they said WrestlePalooza and not. Where were they at?
What do you mean?
What city were they at?
This one, Milwaukee.
Milwaukee? Yeah. Instead of saying, hey, we're going to have a match in Milwaukee, they said WrestlePalooza, and the people still popped.
Right.
So, yeah.
So this segment ended with Jey Uso and Knight bickering with each other. So they go backstage, and LA Knight and Adam Pearce argued. Said, I want, we don't want to have security, have these issues again. After Pearce left, Byron Saxton interviewed Knight. He doesn't care about the Usos' little family reunion. Said he wanted to face one of the Brons. Said it'd be Reed or Breaker or Charles Bronson or LeBron James or King LeBron or Little Bronny, just anybody named Bron, right? So then we do AJ Styles against El Grande Americano, okay? A second Americano came out and stopped Styles at some point. The second Americano, they go to break, and the second Americano was still ringside coming out of the break. Then Americano rallied by running up the ropes and hitting Styles with a blockbuster on the way down. The third Americano came out and grabbed Styles from the floor. Then Dragon Lee came out and took care of the third Americano. And Styles hit Kaiser with the Styles Clash and pinned him in 9 minutes. Just a lot of chaos here from the El Grande Americanos. What'd you think? What'd you think of this? They're just selling that really big, I guess.
Yeah, well, it kind of looks to me, because we're going to see something later in your summation, if you will, in your review, where Dragon Lee and Styles talk a lot. So it almost seems to me that they're going to put them together because they shook hands in the ring.
Right.
Dragon Lee came to help them out. Might be something good for Dragon Lee because they're both great wrestlers, because Dragon's been there, 2 years on TV?
Dragon Lee?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. And it looks like, he's in the same place he started,
Right.
So he may need a change of scenery.
Right. So,
but I don't know why I don't know, to tell you the truth, why they don't use Phoenix, because Phoenix can just flat out go.
Right. Yeah, he's been there since 2020, end of 2022, so like 2.5 years.
Yeah.
All right, so the War Raiders told Penta they would have his back if they need him. Penta thanked him. So as they were leaving, Penta sees Adam Pearce, pulls Pearce aside. He says, he goes, when I came in here, everybody loves Penta. He goes, how come you don't love Penta? Because they're kind of not really using him, right?
Right.
So he said he wants an Intercontinental title match. And Adam Pearce is like, he was talking about it. Then Rusev showed up, said that after he crushed Sheamus, that he should become champion. He should have a championship match. Rusev said Pearce is wasting his time with these demons and clowns, talking about Penta. Penta got right in his face and challenged him, and Pearce called for Penta versus Rusev for the first time ever later in the show. This was a good vignette for Penta. I think that he did well in this. Both of them. I thought all the guys were good in this.
Penta did do very well, but I'm thinking of something's going on, because Penta's asking Pearce, why don't you like Pentagon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you heard about this, but AJ Styles did this promo on Raw during the commercial, where he said that
people don't want him here.
Right. Somebody doesn't want him here, right?
Right.
I wonder if they're putting heat on Adam Pearce because it's playing favoritism, or, you know what I'm saying? That's a very interesting thing to watch. That could be something. Yeah. But I'd also like to say that, just let me finish, Joe. Thank you. And so I'd also like to say that I like the Road Warriors, or
War Raiders.
The War Raiders and Pentagon as people. I'm not interested in seeing them together, but they might surprise me and do some cool.
And beat them up.
The AJ thing reminds me of what happened with AJ and Heyman. when Heyman had power, he told AJ, "Oh, I'm definitely re-signing Gallows and Anderson. They're very important to the future." And then they got released, and AJ took that personally. Like Heyman like Heyman lied to him, and then he moved to SmackDown because him and Paul couldn't work together. I'm not saying this is going to be an angle with Paul, but it sounds like they're creating an angle out of that heat.
Well, the fact that they showed him talking off during the commercial break and aired that.
And you know what's funny?
It's an angle,
right.
I was watching. I wonder who it was with, but I think it's based off
reality. People were saying, I forgot the site, but he was saying, "Do you think this is a shoot?" And I'm thinking to myself, no, because they would have cut off the microphone.
Yeah,
right.
It was better back in the day when we didn't know that. Like Eddie Guerrero came out on Nitro and quit, right? And everyone was like, "Oh my God!" He mentioned how he hates Bischoff. He definitely quit. That was a shoot. But then when you do it 100 times, we start to realize it's not. Yeah.
Here's the best part: when somebody asks you, "Do you think this is a shoot?" your answer should be, "Well, why would you want to know?"
Yeah.
Just if you think it's a shoot, why would I tell you if it's not? Just keep the suspense going. That's it, right. So backstage, AJ Styles told Dragon Lee that he would be there for him. And Jimmy Uso showed up.
So that's the backstage vignette I was telling you about, where it looks like they're going to team up.
Yeah. So Jimmy spotted Jay and said he'd talk with Styles later. And then Jay was ready to leave the building, but Jimmy told him that LA Knight needed their help in his match with Bronson Reed. Jay wasn't interested. He said the vision is the problem. And Jay asked how helping Knight would help them with WrestlePalooza. Jay said they needed to make them all acknowledge that two of them are smashed him. And Jimmy said, you just don't really sound like yourself. You're starting to sound like Roman Reigns. And Jay said that maybe sounding like himself wasn't working. It's actually a good storyline.
So let me say I loved it. I loved it because you didn't know where it was going.
Right.
Kind of like the movie Weapons, nothing.
Yeah.
And so I like the fact, that Big Jim, as Bronson referred to him as, who's just a little bit taller than Jay. They're both wearing black, as you pointed out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when he said the Roman Reigns thing, that elicited a response from the crowd like, ooh.
Right.
But he said, maybe I need, what was the final line?
Maybe that's not working.
Right. And then walked away.
Right.
He might turn heel, or they both might turn heel.
I'm going to bring up something after I go over this. So, okay.
And he's also but wait, let me just say, going with LA Knight.
Right. So he's got that sidebar, right? And he's got this change. So, bro, there's kind of like Jay's character is like shifted a little bit here.
Right.
And they're throwing nuggets out like some
keeps
weird,
them fresh. Keeps
there's
them
a basic
fresh.
theme.
A good heel turn.
There's a basic theme here on the show. AJ Styles cut that promo during the break. The people don't want me here.
Right.
Penta's saying like, "Hey, why don't you guys love me?" Jay Uso saying, "Hey, being myself isn't really working around here. What's going on?" It's like almost like they're setting the tone that there's forces that be that are working against these guys.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's just little breadcrumbs. If you put those three things together, maybe they could be going somewhere with all this stuff.
Right.
With the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Bet on the NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, soccer, golf, MMA, and more. Every sport, every market, right at your fingertips. Deposit instantly with PayPal, Venmo, or Apple Pay, starting at just $10. Win big and cash out fast. PayPal in 24 hours or instantly at retail sportsbooks. Available in over 20 states, FanDuel's app is your ticket to the action. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app now.
Penta versus Rusev. So Kofi, Xavier, and Grayson Waller showed up at ringside. Penta took out Kingston Waller with a flip dive. Then Penta set it for a suicide dive on Rusev moments later, but he punched him from the floor to break it up. Back in the ring, Penta hit the code red, went to the top rope, so Woods climbed on the apron and ran into a Penta kick from the rope, so Penta dove at Rusev, who kicked him in midair, the super kick, and pinned him. So the numbers got to Penta, and unfortunately the result of this match is Rusev's going to get the title shot, and Penta's stuck with the War Raiders wrestling against the Kofi and Waller and the other kid.
You know what, Konnan? I didn't see the whole show, but as soon as Disco said Rusev versus Penta, my brain went, Rusev wins. And that's not good that I automatically assume that Penta's going to lose.
Well, here's the thing. The guy came in red hot, and he's cooled off. You know what I'm saying?
I wonder why. I wonder why. He's selling masks.
And they beat him again.
Yeah.
And even though they kind of protected him with a distraction, he still got beat.
Yep. Right.
And by a guy that's considered a mid-carder.
Yeah. So LA LA Knight was warming up his dressing room when Jimmy entered the room, and Jimmy wondered what happened with Jay earlier was an accident. Knight said it was. Jimmy mentioned something about we, which led Knight to saying, I don't do the we thing. If you want to help, don't help. I'm going to do this by myself. So then LA Knight versus Bronson Reed, what do you think happened here? Just you knew this was going to be no result. Breaker, interference. He hits a Death Valley driver and pins Knight. They attack him after the match. Jimmy Uso ran out, and then Breaker put Jimmy down with a spear. Then Jay comes out trying to help his brother. The Breaker put Jay down with a spear. Then Breaker put the Usos next to one another while Reed went to the ropes. The Knight returned to the apron with a chair and struck Reed with it to knock him down. Tossed the chair at Breaker's head, knocked him down. The heels fled to ringside while Knight stood tall with the chair. What am I reading? And Knight asked if Jay. So the Knight said, "Are we good?" And he helps him up, and he helped Jimmy to his feet, and they shook hands. Now, nowhere, Jay speared Knight. Some of the crowd booed, and Jay did the yeet hand pump in the face for the reason. But that was just a good hook to end the show.
It was a great hook.
Yeah.
Great hook.
So, yeah.
And I would like to say that during commentary, my co-commentator, Corey Graves, shouts out to him, great guy, he compared Reed to Bam Bam Bigelow.
Right.
Until Reed does a cartwheel, don't make comparisons.
Correct.
Nothing. You like that, Joe?
Yeah, for sure.
This was actually a pretty good show with good storyline progression, I thought. Some of the stuff that I like.
Yeah,
I think Oscar Rhea stuff is good.
Well, the first thing I get out of this is WrestlePalooza is going to be a huge show.
Right.
So they added the Usos versus Vision and CM Punk and AJ Lee versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch.
Correct.
Okay. And I don't know where they're going with this thing with Jey Uso, and I love it. You know? Yo, what's up? I just want to thank you guys for watching this clip. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And join our YouTube membership for hours and hours of exclusive, unedited, uncensored content. And being a member will help you get involved in our upcoming live streams. Thank you for your support. Thank you for riding with us. I know you got a lot of other podcast choices, be it wrestling or other ones. And thank you for picking us. Boom.